Relationships, as we know, can have a huge impact on how happy we are in life. A really good relationship can augment your happiness. A destructive one can have the opposite effect. Here to give us some insight is the author of Why You're Not Married Yet, Tracy McMillan. So, Tracy.
Thank you.
There may be a reason why you're not married.
There usually is.
I think it's important that, you know, the end game isn't necessarily marriage. The end game is a happy relationship.
That's right.
But
Exactly.
you say there are certain mistakes that people make that maybe prevent them from having the happy relationship they're seeking, starting with...
You're a liar.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
You guys, people lie and you don't even know it. And basically it's like this. So let's say you're dating someone new and they're like, look, I just want to keep this casual. And you're like, oh, me too. But inside you want a long-term committed relationship and you know that. And if you're not being upfront with the person that you're dating, that's lying.
So at what point do you introduce your actual expectations?
Well, I think it's not so much when you introduce them, but how you introduce them. It's really about saying, okay, I'm looking for a long-term committed relationship. It's not that you're not saying to the person, this is what you have to be. You're just sharing who you are and where you are in your life, and there's no expectation on the other person. And then they are free to like stay or go. Mm-hmm. Have you had this experience where you know, I'm putting you on the spot here.
Travis doesn't like the kiss.
You know, I've always said in life, be very careful when you sit in a position, you say, I know exactly what I want 10 years from now and 20 years from now. If you'd asked me 15 years ago, for instance, even in my own life, would you ever be on a TV show hosting the doctors? I would say, hell no. But no, I actually agree with what you're saying because being honest is always the best policy. The second one is a little, not controversial, but it's in your face. Another mistake you say people make.
You're a bitch. Okay. I'm not saying it to be mean. What I'm saying is very often a person brings a lot of baggage from past relationships into their dating life. And so you have like anger or defensiveness or fear, and it comes across as bitchiness.
Well, and I think for a man that can also come across as just being angry and sort of wounded and hurt. I think that's sort of like for everybody.
Exactly.
Bring where you're coming from into the next relationship.
Exactly.
It can certainly spoil it.
Yeah, you want to be processing as you go along. And usually that's like a grief process. It's like about saying, those relationships didn't work out, but I know that there is something good in my future. And when you know that, and you can come from a place of knowing you're still worthy, you're still lovable, and this is the self-love piece, you can move forward with an open heart.
I mean, if you're bitchy a little bit right off the bat, I mean, that's going to put a damper on it right away. I mean, my wife was so sweet when I first met her. And
What do you mean when you first met her? I met your wife. She's lovely.
it's been 35 years downhill. No, just kidding. Everything changes. Of course, if you're into it, you're sweet. You try not to be angry. You try not to be aloof or arrogant, any of those negative things. But things change a little.
So be honest, don't be angry, and I like this last one. Third mistake you say people make.
You're shallow, yes. So here's what your shallow is all about. It's really about being more interested on the outsides of the person than what's on the inside. Because see, the thing is outsides change. Looks change, job prospects change.
Say, oh, who does your Botox? Don't say that.
Don't say that. But a lot of times, you know, people will be like, oh, I want somebody tall, or I want somebody blonde, or I want this thing, you know, I want this kind of job. But the truth is like, over time, what really makes a good relationship is the character of the person that you're involved with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Amen to that. And I think it's cool. We've learned to be honest, don't be angry, and worry more about the character of the person you're looking for. That's a good recipe for happiness.
Whether you're looking for a relationship or life in general, or
It's true.
And incidentally, this would apply to
everything.
Every relationship. And Tracy's book is called Why You're Not Married Yet. It's available everywhere books are sold. Tracy, thanks for joining us.